Well, here's the truck and trailer that I bought in 2009, and I'm going to keep the truck, but the trailer is going to go for sale. And so this is a little video record of what I've done to it, and it'll be useful to the new owner, I hope, and it'll be a remembrance of the great times that we had in it. You can see it's a pull-behind trailer. I went ahead and bought the brand new in '09 GMC Sierra 3/4 ton Duramax. Got the long box crew cab so that I could put kayaks and canoes on the top, and then still pull and have all the storage that's in the back of the truck. So it's worked well for us, and we're going to take a closer look at the actual trailer today. So I hate to get rid of it, but we bought a motorhome and it's time to move on to something else. So here we go. Well, when you look at this trailer, this information will be with it. I have been accused of being a little OCD. I do keep good records, but what you'll get is you'll get the Komfort original Komfort owner's manual, and then I put together a book here. It has the original sales brochure in it, and then it has a set of tabs down the side. It's got the original research that I did before I bought it. It's got the original contract with what I actually paid for it. It's got various owner's manuals, and there'd be more of these, but one of my first trips was to Alaska, and we had to leave Anchorage, Alaska faster than we wanted, and I left some of the manuals in a box on one of the picnic tables. So a perfect example of haste makes waste. And then there's tire details. We'll take a close look at that. There's an estimation of current valuation. There's the opportunity for an extended warranty, and then there is a section on maintenance details. So we can look at that, each one of these. It should be useful to the future owner, and should be an indication of how well this unit's been taken care of. The manual begins with the original advertisement that I received when I started investigating trailers. This was a process that wore my wife out to the point where she finally said, do whatever you think's best for the truck and the trailer. Get whatever you want. And of course that was pretty much carte blanche. I went ahead and did my research, made my decision, told her what I was going to do, and went on from there. In 2009, when we were doing the research, I was doing the research, there was a dip in the economy, and I could find no 2009 units available in April of 2009. I could find a brand new unit in Burley, Idaho, 2008, 281 TS pull behind 32-foot trailer, and that's what I ended up getting. This particular manual brochure talks about some of the great features of this unit. Right now, as I understand it, Komfort is owned by Dutchman. It's part of the Dutchman family. Anyway, when I researched this thing, the thing that jumped out at me was this aluminum cage construction. All 6 sides, all welded aluminum, very stable, very sturdy, very durable. And one of my real dream in retirement was to drive the Alcan Highway, and that was the first big trip that we took. So as we go through this process, I'll tell you what features I really enjoy in this Komfort trailer. The first tab section is what I call original research. This is where I actually went online, did a lot of inquiries, grabbed prices, went to reviews, got everything that I could, quotes, etc., on what features we should look for, what levels of quality we should look for, and what the cost would be. So this first section gets into the details of the actual research for the particular unit. The values in 2009 and so on, even in here an NADA guide, I think, as to what the unit was worth. Anyway, the second section, second tab section, is the actual contract for the unit. I paid $32,180 for the unit, and I invested an additional $1,100 in the breakfast nook, which was a tremendous that was one of the best decisions I made, was to get that breakfast nook to go with it. So it brought the total price to $33,280 for the unit, brand new. So never been occupied. It had been sitting up on Goody's lot, and it took months, seemed like, for the breakfast nook to come in the same colors, or colors that were consistent with the rest of the interior. So this whole section tells you exactly how much I paid for it. The third tab section is what I call various owners manuals. Now, you'll notice it's a fairly thin section. Well, the reason it's a thin section is that we were in Anchorage, Alaska. We were camped in a campground, and fairly early in the morning an attendant came up and told us that we had to vacate that because there was a good-sized RV party coming in and we had to move. Well, in the process of bundling everything up to move, I left a box of manuals on the picnic table, and so you've got warranty cards in this section and so on, but not all the manuals that I would have liked to have had. Now, a lot of those are available online, and you can go and download whatever you need. This particular top sheet here is a layout of the panel, the JRV Products panel that gives you the indicator lamps on the tanks and battery charge and so on and so forth. And you'll understand why this is in here when I take you through the unit. So this is what I have left for manuals. It is a testimony to the old adage that haste makes waste. So there you have it, a little tidbit of information to be stored away. The fourth tab section is tire details, and if you open this thing up, you'll see where I bought a spare tire in Scipio, Utah. That is going to be, it will be on the unit as a spare up underneath. That's another thing I love about this Komfort trailer, is the spare is tucked up underneath, so there's no spare hanging off the back bumper. This particular spare I had to buy because I had Carlisle tires on there that I bought from Discount Tire. I had two what I would call catastrophic blowouts with Carlisle tires. So I would advise anyone that is interested in listening, if you see Carlisle on the side of a tire, walk on by, because I've never had anything but substantial trouble with those things. Usually in the most inconvenient place possible, like on the freeway during rush hour, and there's an explosion and you look back and there's tread for a quarter of a mile. On the last blowout that I had in Salt Lake City, right in what they call the Spaghetti Bowl area, I lost also a fender. I mean, it just shredded my fender, so it was very expensive. And in the long run, I took my 3 Carlisles back, the ones that were tread separation and one with uneven wear, and I attempted to throw them through the window of the Discount Tire, much like their commercial indicates that is appropriate for frustrated customers. Now, what they did is they treated me right, and they gave me a substantial credit toward the Maxxis tires that are on there now. Maxxis 8000s, I've never had any trouble whatsoever. You've got good tread wear on those tires that are left on the unit right now. I don't anticipate you'd have any trouble. And stay away from Carlisle. Maxxis is the way to go, in my opinion. A little more money, but a lot less trouble. So that's the tire section. The fifth section is the current value of it. As a basis for determining price, I'm pulling information where possible and trying to come up with what I think would be a fair price for this unit, particularly in the condition that it's in and the upgrades that I've done on it. So I don't expect to give this unit away. I expect to get a fair price for it, but I also expect to deliver a quality product to the next owner so that they can have years of good solid use out of a really high quality unit, and we can both come ahead on the deal, because you cannot substitute for quality. That's all there is to it. Okay? The sixth section in this manual is the extended warranty service plan. I always had an extended warranty on this coach. I've never had to use it, but in the event that you lost a refrigerator or whatever, I think it cost me about $45 a month year-round for that warranty, and comes right out of my checking account. I would encourage anyone that buys it to go ahead and keep that warranty in effect. It's a monthly thing, or you can pay it twice a year or just once a year. Personally, I just have it deducted once a month, but that's up to you. I think it's a good thing myself. Anyway, that's the sixth section. All right, and now the final section. The final section is a section that is my maintenance details. Just about everything I've ever done to this trailer, starting in 2009 and going up to 2015, is in here listed. There is a brief synopsis by date of what I've done, and that is in turn backed up by actual documentation. In other words, the receipts for everything I've had done. Brand new batteries, when I had it winterized. And you look through here and you'll see that the vast majority of the work that's been done on this unit has been done by Terry's RV. I love those guys at Terry's RV. They're more than my RV mechanics. They're my friends, and I like to go in there and enjoy their company. They're great people. They know their business. They take good care of me, and they've done that for more than 10 years. I had a trailer previous to this one, and they kept that thing running, even though it was a 1986, until the point where they said, "Richard, it's time to let this one go. It's not worth putting the money you're thinking about putting into this thing, because you need to get a different trailer." And this is, of course, we had the Komfort, but we also had this one as kind of a local camping thing. It's only 20 feet long. So they're honest, they're knowledgeable. Scott is the owner, and he's got Dave and he's got Alan working for him. Scott's son, Todd, is a welder. Jerry works there. They're all great people, very knowledgeable. I would not, even with the coach that I bought a motorhome. They're going to do all the work on that motorhome that needs to be done. I'm not going looking for anyone else, because I am thoroughly satisfied with the way these guys treat me and the relationship that we have. So anyway, that goes through each one of the successive sections of the manual, and we're going to go over and look at the unit. Alright, I'm inside the unit. It's a windy day. I was going to start outside, but I thought, well, too windy, probably couldn't hear the mic anyway. So I'm inside the camper right now, and I'm looking at the manual, and I was going to point out some of the things that I really, really like about this. What makes me believe this is a real quality unit is the Alumacage construction. It is very strong, and all your cabinets are all attached from the outside before the skin's put on, and of course the skin is all fiberglass. Everything is well anchored. The cupboard doors are all solid hardwood, and everything in here works. It's you can see here we got a center kitchen. The kitchen is over the axles, which is important. I have a friend that has a rear kitchen unit, and there's so much action when you go down the highway. When the rear end of the truck goes down, the front end of the trailer goes down, the rear end of the trailer goes up, and everything on the rear end then gets pretty heavily shaken. So I believe that the center kitchen is by far the best. There's a good sized entry door. There's windows here, and this is one of my favorite things, is there's a big picture window across the back. You've got these recliners that we've spent a lot of time sitting in, and you can spin those recliners around and get a good view out the back. There's a favorite place we like to go where you can sit, and we back in and you can look at the scene in the park, the birds, the squirrels, and it's great. The chairs are 6 years old. We've used them a lot. They're worn, but they're in good shape. They're clean. Then there's the hide-a-bed, which came with it. This right now is uncovered, but all the time we had it, it had a throw with it, and I will include that throw. And it is a hide-a-bed, although I would caution against any adult trying to sleep on it. I've always thought that we wouldn't need to waterboard people if we just forced them to sleep on one of these hide-a-beds. They'd give us all the intel we needed. So it is not a comfortable sleep, but for a child, not bad. Then above that, you can see here we've got the entertainment center. You got good storage underneath, and you've got a combination DVD player. It's got surround sound on it, which is pretty awesome. I'll put on a DVD here in a bit. I've gone through and I've checked out all the wires. There's one pair of wires that don't go to the proper speaker. In fact, they don't go to the speaker. This speaker right up here with the green tag on it does not work. I've tried everything possible. I've got up in the ceiling, I've got down in the wiring harness, but you can see it's got surround sound with a woofer here in the center, and then over here more speakers, you can see, and in the slide out more speakers. It makes a really high quality sound. We watched Phantom of the Opera in here on right next to the Yukon River in Whitehorse, Yukon Territory, and kind of lost track of time. It was such an inspirational thing. Daylight didn't disappear until midnight, and it sneaked up on us pretty quickly. Anyway, all the wiring is tied in, all taken care of. Everything in here works. This was probably the best investment we made, or one of the best investments. It came with a table and chairs, 4 chairs, but you can see there when we put the breakfast nook in, we've got additional storage underneath the seats, plus this thing makes into a fairly comfortable bed. So, and again, we've got picture windows. You can see out there. You got good lighting in here, nice big window there, and then my favorite across the back. There is the trick to stowing these chairs, because just like I said, the rear end of the trailer works up and down. You need to make sure those chairs are jammed in there well, and I have a technique that I use that I'll share with you. Alright, kitchen cupboard, drawers, everything. You can see the interior of the drawer is made with multi-layered laminate, and underneath there is the whole house filter. There's extra storage. There's a 10-gallon water heater, which is larger than most, and a nice faucet sink with the covers, and then a 3-burner range with an oven. and that oven has not been used much because at some point on the way to Alaska we lost the knob and we couldn't use the thing, and it took us forever to find the proper knob for this Magic Chef oven. You got your range hood with a vent fan to the outside. You've got a nice microwave. You've got cupboard space over the top. Everything's nice and clean. I've been through this thing thoroughly, just like pretty much I do everything. There's a good sized freezer compartment. Nice and clean. Refrigerator nice and clean. Wood coverings. In here, plenty of storage. I had these slide trays out, gave us more room, but I put everything back in the kitchen the way it was. And then down here is your electrical panel, and then you've got a good sized drawer down here as well. That's the intake for the furnace. Right there, this thing uses floor ducting. It's built on a 10-inch frame, which is heavier than most trailers. It makes it so it does not flex nearly as much, and it has a full basement, so the entire bottom of the trailer is covered. The ducts are enclosed, and that extends the range of your camping dramatically because it does give you heat near your fresh and gray and black water tanks, so they don't freeze, and your lines don't freeze either. I've had one time in Wyoming when the thermostat was set at about 60 degrees and the temperature dropped down to -7, where we couldn't pump water. We didn't lose any lines, but we couldn't move water. It took us a day or so to thaw out, but no damage. So I believe it's PEX pipe, which is significantly more durable than what the commonly used old plastic pipe was in the day. So again, all your duct work through the floor for your heat, and then up in the ceiling is where you've got all of your air conditioning. Every one of those vents, everything works. This is your main air conditioner. You can either direct it down into the kitchen area, or you can close this and it'll funnel the air out into bedroom and living room area. And over here we've got the actual TV entertainment center with some cupboards overhead and down below, and flat screen TV. I'll turn it on, I'll get a movie going, and you can see it's a pretty nice setup. Cable TV connection is at the rear, or you can use the antenna on the front part of the vehicle, on the front part of the coach. There is a problem here, and it's a design problem. When they put the slide out in, they failed to give us proper clearance, so I put that piece of tape there to remind myself to tell you about that. My wife saw that and she said, I want to see if there's an adjustment for this. So I took it to one of the best trailer mechanics that I know of. In fact, this was a company that did the warranty work for Komfort, and his name was Kavanaugh. And Cav opened the door like this. He looked at that and he said, there's no adjustment for poor design, which I thought was pretty right on. Anyway, so this is the living room area. Really nice space. When this slide out's out, you got plenty of room in here, and you know, I've enjoyed this trailer so much. Pulled it a lot of miles and had a great time. I have lost these vents, but not anymore, because all my vents have Air Max vent covers on them now. Terry's RV put them on there. You don't have to worry about anything blowing off coming across Wyoming into a 70-mile-an-hour wind. And another thing I love about this trailer is it is not a high-profile unit like one of the monster fifth wheels I've seen, so you don't have that much wind resistance. It's significantly less. So anyway, I do have one thing to say about this panel. I have no idea why. This is the panel or the control for the awning, and to extend the awning you have to push the bottom part of the button that says retract. Who knew? And then to bring it back in you press extend. So it is backwards. I have no idea why. It's always been that way. Here's your water heater. Here's your front and rear slide outs. Front slide out's got a closet in it, and the rear slide out, of course, has the dinette in it. And then this thing here has been a constant source of aggravation for me. Everything looks good there, but we have water in the tanks. There's water. I've got water in the holding tank 1 and 2. I believe 1 is the black water tank. Holding tank 2 is the gray water. They're both 45-gallon capacity. Fresh water is about 65 gallons. And I can't get these indicators to work properly. I had Terry's RV tear the entire basement off, check all the connections. There was no problem there. I contacted the manufacturer and asked for a printout of this, or a schematic of this unit, and I verified that it's not the unit. So I'm not exactly sure what the problem is. I told a friend of mine who lives in a $500,000 Newmar Essex motorhome, and he says that they're notoriously unreliable and difficult to make work even under the best circumstances. So I'm divulging the current situation, and you can do whatever you want to with that information. Now, underneath we got the double sink, and the filter for the whole house filter is in the right hand sink. So I can't think of anything else in here. There is a green on this. It says replace. When I take this into Terry's RV, I'll have them replace that bulb. So everything that I can do in this unit that I know is not working properly, I have made every attempt to make work properly. So I love this thing. I hate to see it go, but a motor home with a little extra length looks to me, at my stage of life, to look like the ideal. So we'll go ahead and I'll put a DVD in, and we'll watch a little of The Hobbit. I will leave all of the remotes in here, and I do have a problem with a remote control on this, but here we are in the middle of The Hobbit, and I'll turn the volume up.
Bilbo, Baggins, yours. Do we know each other? No.
Good surround sound. This is
real, laddie?
Great to watch a movie
here. It is what? Down where?
Anyway,
Supper.
just thought I'd
You said there'd be food. And what?
alright, we'll stop that. Anyway, this thing has the capability of AM, FM. It has auxiliary input, but the remote for it does not operate the unit. This is the actual remote right here, and I thought it was the remote, so I ordered a new remote, which that's this replacement remote. It still does not work. So I contacted the remotes.com, and they indicated to me they thought it was probably the sensor on the surround sound system, the actual amplifier. So I'm not sure that anything can be done, but I will leave all of the replacement information in there, along with the instructions I received from them and the order form and all that, in that upper part of the compartment. I also replaced the fire alarm, so that will, the information for that will be inside that cabinet as well. And this guy is equipped with a sensor for propane. So anyway, like I said, we've spent a lot of time in this unit, and it has always been absolutely just wonderful. So I think we'll leave the living room for now, and I'll give you a look through the bathroom and the bedroom, and we'll have some additional information for you. Alright, I promised I would give you some tips on transporting this thing. You can see we've tried a number of different ways to transport these rockers, because there's some bounce in them, and then there's some bounce in the frame, and so on the highway. So here's the technique we use, and it's worked well, and here's the consequences if you try something else. I tried them back to back to begin with, and you can see down here we have knocked some of the formica off. But what we do now, and have done for years, is we have throws on these that we use when we are camped. So it's a kind of a light blanket, goes up on the top of the thing, provides a head cushion, and if you get cold you just pull that off and cover yourself with it. And during transport I cover those formica tops with the throws, and then I tuck those two chairs in there, and that creates a space in between. And then we have a portable heater that we put in there, and we put that in there and then add some additional pillows, and it has always worked well. Transporting them works fine. So yeah, it's great. Recliners they're just so relaxing to get to where you're going. Move your recliner out, either spin it around and look out this big monstrous back window, or maybe even face the front and watch a movie. It is the only way to travel as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, great times. That reminds me of one more thing. You have to have these chairs tucked in order to let that slide out come in. You can see there's the edge of the slide out. I have left some hooks here because it's always handy to have a place to hang your jacket. But one of the annoying downsides of this slide out is the fact that this slide out has to come over this speaker, and depending on how the trailer is positioned, whether it's level or not, there is some drag on that speaker. So there has been some minor damage there. The speaker, like I said, I've traced wires. I cannot understand why it doesn't work. But when you look behind, if you have occasion to, all the wires are in there and labeled. So there's no guesswork about what goes where. Anyway, just a little heads up. I believe in full disclosure. So there you go. Alright, we're going to step into the bedroom area, and of course we got the shower on the right and the bathroom on the left, but the thing that really dominates this bedroom is something you don't see much of, I wouldn't think, in a trailer this size. It came with a queen bed. The pedestal was somewhat undersized, and the feeling was, when you stretched out on that bed and got close to the edge, that you were going to fall. We thought the bed was too small. My wife said, I would like a king bed if I could get one. So I got in here and I actually measured, and with that bedroom slide out in, I had 72 inches from that wall to the slide out when it was retracted. I went down to Sears. They just happened to have a sale going on, and I bought this mattress, which I have covered with the throw that goes over the couch. This is the top of the line Sears Optimum memory foam mattress, California king size, and in order to get that in here I had to make adjustments to the base. So when we're in transport, the mattress is all the way over to the right, and when you get where you want to go, then you run your slide out, and then you go ahead and build your base up. And here's what I had to do. Over on the side you can see there is a kind of a flap, and this flap is in two parts so that you can actually lift this thing up and get to the underneath storage. So let me just lift that up and I'll show you how it's held up. Now underneath you can see the it's 3/8 inch OSB, and it mounts on top of the old pedestal, and there are some supports that give it separation. I'm on the floor now, and these loops allow you to pull these supports out and give support clear to the edge of the bed all the way down the line. So this pedestal is the same size as the mattress and gives full support clear to the edges. It is its dream comfort for staying extended periods of time, which is what we retired in 2009. So when we go someplace, we typically stay for an extended period of time, and having a this bed here is exactly the bed that we have at home. It just makes life great. Anyway, this flap folds down. When you want to pull the slide out in, you got to slide the mattress over. I'll show you one more feature. You've seen underneath that the support is actually provided by 3/8 OSB, and that's on top of a 2x3 frame that is built. But on top of that is masonite, and the masonite is so that when you grab the mattress and slide it over, it slides very easily, and you don't end up with slivers in the bottom of your mattress. This whole mattress cover can come off, it can be washed. This mattress has only been in here for just over a year, and it was, I looked up the cost of it, was over $1,400 for this mattress. So if you want this mattress in here, it's a dream to sleep on. It is a pleasure. The downside, I guess, is at the bottoms of those curtains over there were hooks that held them down. Well, the pedestal's high enough with the mattress being thick enough that I've removed those hooks, and those hooks are in this drawer in the event you want to go down to a queen size bed, which, you know, if you buy it, it's your decision, but to me it would be insane. It just is a wonderful, comfortable sleep. So I will position the mattress for like a night's rest. Of course, it'd all be made up, but here we go. Now, it may look a little crowded in here, but I have not got the mattress up against the front of the space yet, and the reason is I wanted to show you one more thing. You can see you have enough room to get down both sides. This was my side, and then this over here was my wife's side. Both of us have CPAP machines, so in order to make those serviceable, I'm moving forward, I have added a power strip right there. You can see it's recessed. You can plug that into an electric blanket, or I mean, you can plug an electric blanket into it, or you can plug in your CPAP machines, and then you can see there's a little area that allows you to place your CPAP right next to where you're at. These curtains hang freely, and then you've got your lights for reading, and then you've got storage up above for blankets, etc. Now, once you have everything positioned, you got your mattress where you want it, then you can slide it all the way forward. And that power strip is powered off of that cord. That cord in turn goes down through that hole and then up to that power strip that's at the front. And if you want to do dry camping, then underneath this decking there is a 1,000-watt inverter. You simply unplug this, work that back through the hole, and plug your cord into the inverter. And I just put 2 brand new RV batteries in here last week. You can run 2 CPAP machines off of this thing all night easily. So if you're dry camping and you still need a CPAP machine, you got everything you need. All you got to do is move that cord from this position to the output of that 1,000-watt inverter that's underneath. Okay? Alright. That's pretty much the bed. Except, you know, you want to be able to get under the bed, because there is storage under the bed. Well, with the extra frame on there and this mattress being memory foam, it makes it fairly heavy, but not to worry, I have a fix. So let me position it. So underneath the edge of the pedestal there is half of the hinge, and the other half of the hinge is mounted to a 2x3, and those two will be connected using a cotter key. I'll get it all set up and I'll show you. With the cotter key in this position, you're ready to go ahead and raise this base up so that you can get to the storage that's underneath this mattress. So you do have to use caution. It is heavy, but let me just and I've only got one hand, so all you have to do is lift it straight up. It'll fall into this position, and then you can get anything you want out from underneath your cupboard. When you want to go down, you simply get between or straddle the board, and then as you lift up, use your heel to pull the board back, and it'll let you lower the thing, and then you disconnect your cotter key and put your pedestal leg away, and you're ready for the next task. So I'll do that. Underneath you'll notice some parts, and that'll play in when we get into the next part of this demonstration. Alright, I've got the bed positioned back for transport. The wings down, the mattress is all the way over to the side, and I'm ready to show you my wife's closet. When you open this up, you can see here, this is where she puts her hanging clothes. And what I did was I took the shelves that were in there out, and I went ahead and did some modification to it. I went ahead and built in heavier duty shelves on the left side of her area where she could put her valuables, camera, etc., extra clothes folded, etc. And if you don't want these, they're fairly easy to take out. They're actually held in with pressure, so you can pound the shelf up and take the whole thing out and put it back to original, although I have no idea why you would think that would be an advantage, but that's up to you. We've got electrical connections going down here, and you know, we got cable TV. Well, you can have cable TV output here, or you can use the antenna, and when you use the antenna, then once you have the antenna up, which the antenna is right there, you have to crank 13 cranks clockwise to get the antenna raised to the full position. Then you have to power up your preamp, and then you run off of digital signal through the air, or you hook up to cable at the back of the unit, which we'll look at when I go back there. Anyway, she had some nice drawers, made it nice storage, and then down here at the bottom there's one long drawer that goes across, that very useful. Okay, now let's take a look at mine. This is my cupboard. I was surprised to find that a standard hanger is too wide, or too deep to fit in here. So rather than do that, I've gone to all folding. I fold everything. I put in these extra shelves here so that I can fold and separate everything. And then you've got some nice drawers that go down, and down below is where we usually put our shoes. Again, easy to take out if you feel like you're so inclined. Alright, that's pretty much it on the inside. I'll get things arranged, and we'll take a look at the bathroom and the shower. Alright, this is our bathroom medicine cabinet. And got a little bit of storage in there. You got some storage underneath the sink, towel rack, soap dispenser, and so on. And one of the things that I really like about this trailer is the shower. The first trailer I had was like showering in a coffin standing up. I made some comments which I would prefer not to have recorded and distributed about the difficulty of washing certain portions of your anatomy in the first shower I had. But this guy is a corner shower, got plenty of room in there. It is very easy to take a shower in here and feel good, and I hate to see this trailer go, but I have a motorhome now too, so how many units does one person really need? Anyway, that's the shower. Okay, we'll look at the toilet here next. Well, here we are in the bathroom. The vent fan, which is customary. I lost the cover in Wyoming, like I lost the cover to the other one in Wyoming. So on the top you'll see a Air Max hood over that, which is a dream. You can leave those open, you can get good ventilation, you don't have to worry about rain coming in, and you don't have to worry about even the wind in Wyoming tearing them off. Got a nice mirror. Got your, I added some extra for bathrobes, etc. You got your porcelain toilet, high enough to spray. We have had some problems with hard water and the valve. Terry's RV has had to replace the valve once in 5 or 6 years and clean it once. But you've got storage up overneath or overhead for your toilet chemicals, etc. And that pretty much is it. I would kill to have this on the motorhome I just bought. The motorhome I have now, the toilet area is very, very small, even though in its day that it was a Newmar Mountain Air and it was the top of the line, and the bathroom, the toilet itself is, well, a friend of mine would describe it as needs improvement. But yeah, wonderful. Alright, this is should be the end of my video here pretty quick. Anyway, here's the back of the truck. And this strategy that I took, I got the nice camper with the rear end that'll lift up. You can have the glass door, and then I put extra material in here. It just made it a lot easier to haul and store whatever you needed for the trip. One of the things I did add to my outfit was an extended shank on my equalizer hitch. That was a huge plus. That was something Alan talked me into down at Terry's RV. He didn't have to talk very long because I couldn't get this hatchback up when I had the original short hitch on it. So, and you can see here the drawbar for the trailer is right there, and that meant close clearance. And one of the first things that happened to me was in Alaska. We just crossed over the border, and one of our friends that went with us was geocaching, and she got me into a very small parking lot. And then in order to get out, I actually bumped the edge of my brand new topper and trailer, or topper and fender, against this part right here, and you can see there's minor cracking in here. So I did that once on this side just after we crossed into Alaska, and then a similar thing happened. You can see here just a little bit of crack in the gel coat. That happened when we were in Anchorage in a parking lot trying to get turned around after we'd looked for that missing knob for the oven. So that longer shank makes it ever so much easier to make a turn. Anyway, another good investment. Of course, I'm keeping the hitch. So now the other thing, you look up here, here's the front window, and I just had this unit washed yesterday, and you can open this up, and there's another window there. Now that window turned out to be a problem in Fairbanks because I had water coming down inside the unit. I had no idea what the cause was, and of course I needed to get up on top. Now the top of this unit has a 12-year warranted membrane on it, so that means that this warranty is transferable, and that warranty will be good until 2020 because it's an 08. So I've never walked on top of this unit. I do let the guys that wash it walk on top to do a good job of cleaning it, but I found in Fairbanks, Alaska, that the thing that you do not want to forget is your ladder. I did not have a ladder, so I could not get up on the roof. Now that right there is a fairly inexpensive Home Depot ladder, but this is the ladder I jokingly refer to as my golden ladder, because when you add the cost of the ladder to the cost of transportation to Fairbanks, Alaska, you have a sizable sum of money. I brought this ladder home from Home Depot, and the same gal that got me into the Box Canyon and had me virtually jackknifed while she was trying to geocache said, I wouldn't pay that much for a ladder. And I brought her out here. She's a little short gal, and I said, well, I wouldn't have paid that much either if I could have got you to stand on this hitch real still so I could stand up on your shoulders to look to see what's going on up on the roof. So, you know, forget the thing about the American Express card and never leaving home without it. This is what you never leave home without when you've got a trailer, and that's a ladder. Let me set this up and we'll go take a look up at the roof. Alright, here's a view of the roof. You can see the roof's in real good shape. Got your slide outs still out. I'll be putting those away shortly. And you can see all of the major appliances that are up here. This front vent is a power vent. Pardon me, I've had bronchitis and so I have trouble breathing. That is a, I think it's 4-speed power vent, works off the DC, so even at night you can draw air through this thing. And then you can see the bathroom vent covered with that max air vent. You can see the AC unit. You can see the light or the skylight over the shower, the crank up antenna for the TV. And then if you were able to see clear to the back, you'd be able to see another power vent for the living room, and you'd be able to see the dome light or the skylight for over the area where the recliners are placed. Anyway, the unit never leaked. It was the front window that was leaking. The Goody Motors failed to put a bead of caulk over the top of it, which is what the dealer in Fairbanks said, and they put a bead of caulk over the top of it, and we've never had any trouble with any kind of leakage anywhere with this trailer. There's a caveat to that, and that involves watching your gaskets on your slide out, which I'll get to. Anyway, this is the top of the trailer. I never walk on it. I like to have Terry's RV take a look at it, make sure everything's sealed and we don't have any problems. It's real durable top to it. So this slide out right here is my wife's closet, and then of course the living room slide down there. And we'll go around and look at some of the other things. This is the little slide right here. You can see that gasket. That gasket, when this slide out is extended, takes that shape, and it shunts the rain away from the slide out and prevents any moisture from getting inside. It works very well. And then when you pull it in, it's this gasket that actually seals it. I do have a couple of batons that we can place once the slide out's in to hold the slide out in, so that as you go down the highway, the difference in air pressure doesn't cause the slide out to tip out at the top. Now, it's not a problem with the big one because there's enough weight, but this narrower slide out has tipped out at the top, you know, a few inches. It's not a big problem unless it is raining, and then you have the opportunity for moisture to get inside, but you got the batons to put in there to take care of that. So we'll go over and look at the big slide now. Alright, this is the big slide, and you can see the top of the slide's in good shape. There are a couple of spots that have been patched. One of the things I wish I had done on this unit was put the roller awnings on it that come out automatically, because you have to be careful about accumulation of debris up here when you pull your slide out in, because it will pull material like this inside and then you've got a mess. But here's the critical thing, and it's this seal right here. I have had a time when that seal failed to deploy properly, and I didn't know it until we had a serious downpour, and then I was inside with buckets catching all the drips. So what I do now, as a matter of routine, if we're going to be anywhere for any length of time, we're expecting any rain, I take my favorite tool with me, this mini roller, and I work this underneath to make sure that I've got that gasket all the way out. That's a critical thing, because if you don't have a good seal, then you can get moisture down inside. I will throw this guy in at no extra charge, just to show you my heart's in the right place. So there's our max air vent. These things are the cat's meow. We got the quick cool Durotherm ducted. You can see there's a pitch to the roof as well, which helps a lot. Of course, all your duct work for the air conditioning goes through the roof, as well as all the electrical and all the surround sound and all that. So anyway, everything's good up here, and Terry's RV makes sure that it is. So there you have it. We'll go around to the back now. Alright, this is the rear of the unit. And one of the best investments I made was the addition of this 2-inch receiver in the back. Actually, it's a lot more complicated than that, because in order to put that 2-inch receiver there, this entire back section had to be reinforced. So Todd, the welder down at Terry's RV, reinforced that. I think it probably cost me about $400 or $500 to have that done. And it's got a nice bumper on it, and a little warning. Typically you'd take your drain hose out of this end, but I did something my wife will never forgive me for. It's on, I think, probably on a long list of things she'll never forgive me for, and that's backing up without somebody flagging. In the railroad industry, it's known as a blind shove, where you back up without an observer back there. It was in the dark, in all fairness. She'd got me off on the wrong highway, and I didn't want her back there in the dark, so I tried backing up gently, and I hit a Jersey barrier there, and it crunched that in just enough to where you can't get your sewer hose in there now. So sewer hose is accessible from the other side. Todd did everything he could as a welder to straighten that thing out, and he said, sorry, I can't do any more than that. So that is one little physical piece of damage that I contributed to this unit. So you pull your hose out from this side, you got your ladder going to your roof, and again, I never climb up there. Well, I've climbed up there once. I climbed up there and I looked out back at Denali from the Parks Highway and was able to see the tallest mountain on North America without clouds, which is a big accomplishment, because whenever you go there, there's a lot of clouds. All right, down this side of the unit, you can see we've got 2 different kinds of tires, and we're going to get into that in just a bit. In fact, I think I'll set a few things up and then we'll continue taping. All right, I've got a couple of Thule tables that came with this unit, and I'm going to set them up, show you how to do it, and demonstrate them. So here we go. We've got a couple of these. Well, there's 4 caps. You squeeze them, you take it off, and it exposes that right there. Then I'll show you what it's like when they're all hooked up. All right, here the tables are deployed, and when you're going to do a little entertaining like we have at different times, it's nice to have these on the outside of the unit. You can put your ice chest on the lower one, you can put drinks and such on the other, and they travel bundled up in the back of the truck. So handy little items to have, especially if you're going to have a grill. So anyway, those will go with the trailer. It had 2 chairs, but the chairs, after what, 5-6 years, and they're gone. All right, one last thing before we do the tires, and that is this storage compartment here. This thing has been a thorn in my side from the beginning, because nothing was very accessible. So I had several cardboard boxes in there that I would reach in with a child's hoe and pull out and put on the picnic table, but I got tired of that, and I came up with a plan. So here's what I did to modify this area here. I built this box that fits in there, and this box has 2 rollers on the back side of it, so that you can roll the whole box out and access whatever you need. Now, this compartment is also the compartment that has a 1000-watt inverter in it. And you recall on the inside that I said, if you work this cable or this wire back out of the outlet, plug it into this guy and turn it on, then you can run your CPAP machines all night. So that's a pretty handy little item. Now, you'll also see that is a 3/4-inch piece of pipe with a what they call a floor flange. You've got a couple of handles here, and when you want to check for whatever you need underneath here in storage, whether it's lubricant or cleaning supplies or whatever, what you do is you take this handle, these 2 handles, and you pull this unit out to the first position, and I'll show you how that's done. Alright, this is the first position. You can see we've got this facing edge of the box is almost out to the edge of the opening. Now if you look underneath, you can see up there, there is the other floor flange, and these cleats right here keep this edge here, keeps this box from rolling out anytime that you're in transit. When you lift this base up, this block clears this block and releases everything. And then you can see this block sits on top of another one in there, and that elevates this to where you can screw your leg in. So I'll go ahead and screw the leg in, because there is one end of it. You pull it out, threaded rod, and here's what it looks like when you get it in place. Here's your leg in place. So now you're ready to fully run out your storage box underneath. And this is what it looks like when it's all the way out. Alright, there's your box fully deployed. You've got 2 rollers in the back that lets this box roll in and out. And now you can have access to anywhere in that storage area right there. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you what's in there. What's in here right now is you've got a couple of speed wrenches. This one is for putting your outriggers down. This one is for ratcheting your stabilizers down, which, if you're smart, you'll get a 3/4 inch socket and a 1/2 inch drive, so that you can do it with a portable screwdriver or portable drill. You've got a handle to be able to control your electric jack by hand if you have trouble. You've got 2 batons to be able to jam the front slide out closed so that it doesn't lean out during transit. You've got a gasket mounted on a flange that fits in your sewer line that goes on your sewer hose, which is included on the back of this. And then you've got this leg that goes to the pedestal when you need to get into the pedestal. Alright, and you have that little ruckus there to allow you to make sure that your gasket is fully deployed when you're set up. Alright, so the leg fits in here, and it fits in that pipe bracket at the front. You can put anything else in there that you want. I had a slew of stuff in there, extra lengths of hose and you know, the 30 amp power cord and everything else. So there's plenty of space here for you to store whatever you need. It has ready access. Roll it in, roll it out, no fuss, no muss. The other part drove me crazy, and a friend of mine, when he confronts something like that, he always says, I can't hang with this way. So only a guy with time on his hands, retired, who likes to mess around, could come up with something like this, I think. But anyway, it works for me. I'm sure it'll work for you. Okay, there you have it. Alright, this is the last bit of our discussion. What you're looking at is a Maxxis tire mounted on one of the original wheels. And when I was down in Las Vegas, I found that one of my wheels had cracked. These 2 of these had cracked. So I took my wheel, the broken wheel, off, and I put the spare on. Here's the original spare, and this is the one I told you that I bought in Scipio. You can see the Maxxis have good tread life, and this spare wheel, spare tire, is almost brand new. The problem was that I could not get a match. I went to about every trailer supply place I could think of, and looked online, etc. I could not find one that matched that. So what I did, I went down to Henderson Wheel, and I bought 2 of these. So when I'm done after Monday at Discount Tire, They will have the two Maxxis tires that go on this side mounted on these new wheels. The new wheels will be mounted on the rig. This good alloy wheel will become the spare, and this tire will be on that wheel, and it will be underneath, which is where the spare goes. The spare goes underneath here. You can see it over there. Okay? So you'll have good tires, 4 good wheels, and a spare that will be an alloy wheel rather than the steel one. So there you have it. That's about all I can think of. Like I said, this unit's well taken care of. I believe I've disclosed everything. The only other thing I'm going to have them look at is the black water rinse to make sure that thing works. So if I knew about it, I tried to fix it, and I've taken good care of it, and I'd like to get a good fair price that gives a good fair value. So that's basically it. Alright, well, I hope this has been useful. Oh, I'll also throw in these. These are ever so much more efficient than the chocks that go underneath. You put them in between the wheels, crank them down, and they prevent a lot of motion. So whatever you do, don't try to take off of those things either, because it'll blow your tires. But you know, it's all part of a process. When you get ready to pull up stakes and go, or when you get there and you want to deploy. So anyway, there it is. 2008 Komfort 281 TS. It's a wonderful unit. I hate to see it go. Anyway, good luck to the new owner.